That you watch camera.
Pardon?
You can see it like front to me.
Okay. And it's not too much sun?
No, because you will be just black, like silhouette, but... Oh, yeah, very good. Yeah, I can see you a little bit. Mm. I can actually see your red ears through the sun.
Elfin ears.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's good. Okay, so we can we just normal talk, and then I cut a lot of stuff. So
where do I look? At you in the lens?
No, if it's no problem for you, so you can look in the lens, but just like natural, because myself, if I look at the lens, I cannot speak because it feels so stupid,
It's a bit
unused,
but it doesn't matter. I think it might work.
Okay. Oh, actually, it's little change. It doesn't disturb you so much.
No, if I look in the lens, it's fine.
So I can keep it because it makes a little bit difference actually.
Okay.
Maybe we should do it later, so sun is not so strong. But
yeah, that's also possible, of course.
Yeah, but it's not okay. Second light.
Ah!
Oh, sorry. I was just watching.
Now I feel more and more like an extraterrestrial, actually. Looking into a lens being filmed. Are you sure you're from the Secret Service? It's a very funny interrogation technique.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so you can start how you get this idea about elves or contact with elves, or how it starts, and if you can say how you do it. If somebody, for example me, want to make these kind of things, how to start to do it.
Well, I think for me personally it was like that. I simply wanted to experience more magic in my life. I found it a bit boring. And so I thought, well, how can I do that? And for me the answer was quite natural. To me, elves are naturally magic beings, and so I thought if I work together with them, then I can bring this magic also in my personal life, which became very true. So if you want to do that yourself, I think there are two major things one should keep in mind, and that is, for the first, that you keep your own mind and your heart open. And the second one, which might be a bit more tricky, is that you need to trust yourself.
And what is the main purpose of this? What kind of creatures they are? Where they live? And what for is the is it for to help human or planets? If they are from this planet or other planet?
Right.
Like about elves.
The elves in general are most often described in literature or in whenever you hear about them, they are described as nature beings or beings of a certain element and so on. But for me, that never really rang true. And actually, what they state themselves is that they are our neighbors in terms of solar systems. So their origin is from our neighboring solar system called Alpha Centauri. That's where they're from. And they came here before Earth even existed, and were very much part of creating Earth, creating life on the planet, creating the flow of life, all different life forms as well. And that's what they're still busy with. So whenever you get in contact with elves, they're very much involved to create oneness. Not only here, not only in solar systems, but in a very much bigger sense throughout galaxies, throughout the universe. And they're actually masters of planetary connections. So they have a very big knowledge how to connect different planetary systems in order to empower their nature force, the life force on these planets, by simply building up links between different planets, for example. And as they shared our reality here on planet Earth for a very long time, it's now time to bring this natural state back, because currently they are not really here in our layer of the physical. They are very close, they are not gone. It's only I could say a different band of vibration. And so in the work that they are doing together with me, they teach people how we can contribute, so we will share this reality and create paradise on earth.
Okay, so you said that they are not physical here. So how is they? My shadow. So how is they traveling? Are they traveling?
No, they are physical. It's just not in the same vibration as we are, so we would not see them, as our eyes are most often not attuned to this frequency that they have. Some people think they can see them, but most often they are mistaken, because the elves do not visit our layer in our reality. They send a copy of themselves, a light body, a light form, energy composition which they use to work with energies here in our layer. But in the moment they are not really able to come here physically, and the same goes for us. It would be a challenge for anyone to try to enter their realm currently.
And before it was possible?
Yes, before there was no difference at all. It was. It has to do with a long history on the planet, actually, which has to do with separation, how to be able to move spiritual presence into the physical, into matter at all. And so the idea was, if one creates separation, one would be able to enter deeper into density, which was quite right, but also a quite painful experience for the ones that came to the planet to incarnate here. And the elves contributed to this creation of separation by splitting this reality into 7 layers and splitting up the 7 elements that we have here on the planet into 2 groups. As you know, the humans kept 4 elements, and the elves took the other 3 with them to be able to live and create the circumstances where they are now. And we are currently in the 5th layer of our dimension, and they are in the 7th, which has nothing to do with dimensions. It's really that our dimension in itself is split.
When it happened?
I would say the last elves physically left this realm about 3,000 years ago. Until then they were physically like you and me now. And so now they just shifted. As they are in general more conscious than we are, further developed in their consciousness, further developed in their love, further developed in their light. So it was a bit easier for them to do that than us to that point of time.
And was it special historical time which we remember in the history, special event, or
yeah, it was in general a good time to create separation. And
so it was like 1,000 years before Christ.
Yeah, about.
Was it some special place on Earth to happen this, or?
No, this is always a planetary event. You cannot say that elves live in this place or that place, or in the garden of that person more, or at a certain farm. It doesn't simply work like that. You can feel their presence there, but most often it's also a memory of the place that elves used to be there. And as the elves would say, memories always work also into the future, which is not really a common concept amongst humans. So you can also connect to a memory from the future and know, okay, they will be here sometime.
So how they look when they was physical?
Well, they're humanoid life form as we are, though they're a bit taller. They might be also a bit slimmer, and for sure they have these tipped ears. Yeah.
Like on the movies.
Yeah, very much so, but I'm sure they don't run around with arrows and bows anymore. And I'm also quite sure they don't use swords. So Why would they? They are a peaceful civilization.
Oh. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes, I have.
So they look quite. It was quite good.
Yes, the
copy.
appearance is quite good. So though they looked a bit tranquil in Lord of the Rings, a bit off.
Oh.
And I think if you meet a real elf, you would be impressed by the presence of that being,
Yeah.
and not only by his or her power, but foremost, you would be impressed by the love and the light that they radiate.
Yeah. Oh. They was the same size or taller?
Yeah, same size or a bit taller.
Yeah. Oh. And what about Iceland? About because you said that about this place on Iceland.
Yes, Iceland is one of 4 major sites where the elfin people have built very big energy structures which emit certain frequencies onto the earth plane to support all life here. And there's one island north of Iceland which they say they call the structure actually a city. The name of the city is Ina in their own language, and you could translate it into the Golden City, as it is emitting a golden light, the golden light of remembrance. So when this light is touching you, it helps you to come in contact with your own remembrance.
Why on Iceland?
Well, Iceland, for one, is very strongly connected to earth energies, to the center of the earth, simply due to its volcanic activities. And then you have also these 2 tectonic plates drifting apart there. So this is one good place. As always, if you want to work with earth energies, volcanic energies are of advantage. And then there's also the fact that it's quite remote. There are not so many people living there. And as I already mentioned, it's not so much because they don't like humans, but it's simply because what we do in our civilization, we create a lot of activity. We are very busy people. We think a lot, we do a lot, and we like to surround ourselves with a lot of things, for example, electricity and other radiation, which they do not appreciate too much.
So they are not technological.
They are highly technological. It's just their technologies are more based on light, which means it's faster, it's more direct, and I have to say, as development goes on, we will get more and more enabled to envision such techniques, because in the moment we cannot even think about these techniques. But as more and more consciousness is evolving on the planet, we will be able to.
Is it when it's about UFO? Is possible that they are traveling like this in this kind of?
Well, the question is, what is a UFO?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they can, if they want, they can build such things that you would be a bit similar to what one can see in a Hollywood movie. But that's more the steam engine version. A UFO is basically, or a starship in general, it's a composition of light. It's like you have your own energy body, and it has many layers. One of the bigger layers, it's called light body actually, and it's the seat of your soul. It's like the aura of your soul. And if you work with it in a certain way, you can use it for dimensional traveling. You can use it also to travel to other places, like to other planets, if you want to, if you know how to. And not only that, but you can also put it together with some other guys and make a much bigger structure, which enables whole groups to travel together. And then you would have what spiritual guides would refer to as a starship, which has, as said, nothing to do, or not so much to do with a UFO.
Okay. Huh. What about other creatures which are on Earth, like these small fairies and trolls? You don't have contact with those?
Well, actually,
or are they still here, or they are not?
Yes, of course they are. It always depends on which layer you tune into, which point of reference you take yourself, and then where you look, because reality has so many facets, so many layers, that you can find so many different beings at the same spot, right here, for example. So you need to work up your own, how can one say, your way to orientate simply in all these layers. But yes, I work together with elves, I work together with fairies, which are completely different beings. We have, all these beings work for a common goal, and that is oneness for all being, the evolution of consciousness, and so on. But in terms of how they work or cooperate here on Earth, they have different areas, specialities. And for example, the fairies, they work very much with an energy they call toning light, which is actually a combination of tone and light at the same time. So you could hear a certain frequency of light at the same time. And the third group of beings that I work with during workshops, for example, or when I travel around the planet with groups, is dragons.
Dragons?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
What about them? Can you tell us something more? Very
Yes, they're
interesting. Just a moment. Sorry. Oh.
They are a very old group of beings, and they have been here.
Yeah. Moment, I
Sure.
find it. Okay.
Yeah. So they have been here for a very, very long time as well. And the dragons are also very powerful creators, which means they create reality. They are able to create life, to direct light, as we are as well, by the way. It's not that these beings would be more powerful. They might be more conscious about their power than we are, but that's maybe the only difference. And they were here for a long period of time, which they call Hyperborea, which is a time period that is even older than Lemuria. And to that time they worked intensely with the Earth grid, the energy grid work in and around the Earth, and they built up the crystalline part of it. And so this is a very distinct and important part of the Earth grid, which the elves also utilized to...
When was it? How many years ago?
Before Lemuria.
So in thousands of years, about...
That's older than 200,000 to 300,000 years.
Okay.
Yes, but as you see, these ages, like Atlantis, they have a certain time span of 50, 60,000 years, and then Lemuria was 100,000 to 200,000 years, so they get longer and bigger, and Hyperborea was a much vaster space of time.
Where was it? In which place?
It's more an age. It's not so much a place.
Okay.
Right.
And what about dragons? Are they still here?
Well, I would say yes. In certain areas they are, for sure. In certain areas people still have the memory, though it might be distorted with fears, for example, or with interpretations that that might not reflect the truth anymore. We found, for example, a dragon on Bali, which lives more or less imprisoned on the bottom of a lake. And there it used to perform rituals which supported life on the whole island. But as time went by, the people who actually knew about it forgot about it, which is, of course, not a good thing. And so they imprisoned her to stay there simply because of fear, which is most often a reason for people to do things. It might not be the smartest one, but for sure it might sometimes sound as a very convincing one. But anyhow, yes, some of them are here, most are not, but you can for sure always link with them to do energy work together.
And is Loch Ness monster some of them? Or
Well, she is some kind of. No, she is no dragon.
no? So how they look actually?
Yeah, as you would imagine. Um, I mean, there are different kinds, of course. You cannot just say they look this and that. Um, they basically, I mean, as they're creators, they can create their form as they wish to.
Oh,
And if you look into, for example, Chinese mythology, you can see a more snake-like appearance that can fly without wings. And then here in Europe, you have these winged dragons, or some that can have no wings and cannot fly at all. So there are many different forms.
Is it has something to do with, I don't know if you know this theory that our planet is ruled by lizards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like, do you know this theory? Or David Icke, for example,
I've heard about it,
conspiracy
yes.
theory.
I've heard about it.
So it has something to do with dragons, or is different kind of beings?
Well, I would like to put it like that. I don't really give much thought about conspiration theories. Not at all. I don't want to put my energy there. Because if they would be true, and I put my energy, my intention there, my focus, my interest, I would give them energy. If it's not true, I would create some reality I don't even want to see. So that's why I really don't pay attention to these things, because I really most of the time focus my energy on the things that I want to see real for myself and for the rest of humankind. And I focus on positive things, not that someone is more powerful and tries to enslave us.
So, what about? It's beautiful. It's amazing that this is so many clouds here. Have you seen it? And wow. What about? Did you talk with them about? Oh, just a moment. It's start to be blue. Did you talk with them about future, about for example Iceland, volcanoes, or the future of the planet, or this 2012?
Well, there are different aspects with future. One thing is that spiritual guides always say that the moment where you have your most power is now. It's not in the past, it's not in a former lifetime, it's not who you will be if you have developed this and that, it's now. So they really always encourage you to stay in the moment with all of these things. So this idea that we have about 2012, they actually have a good laugh about it, because they say you could have created this change already by now if you really wanted. But everyone seems to be very eager to have it happen 2012, which they find is very peculiar. And they most often make jokes about it. They say just because the Mayans couldn't count further than 2012 doesn't mean that there's anything special. But that's their point of view.
Oh.
What the elves normally talk about is not about predictions. It's more about the consequences for life, for humans on the earth. What can happen. Or even more what we can do so it does not happen, or in a milder form. Like, for example, they would say, oh, we foresee that the Earth grid will be unstable for quite some while now, which basically means we can expect that there will be more natural disasters, for sure not less for a while. But they would not dwell on that fact, but they would always try to encourage us to see solutions for that. How can we work as humans together with other intelligent life forms like elves or spiritual masters or whom you like to work with, to make these happenings to decrease their impact on life. So, for example, when there was this tsunami in the Indian Ocean. They said I should go there and work on 3 different spots to create a certain energy structure to stabilize the energies around this whole part of the ocean, which would mean then that if there is enough energy and power built, that the chances that these things happen there would actually decrease. So that is more the way they work, to search for solutions and to work on results which actually support us.
Do you have any message for now from them? For this moment, or for this moment when they see this in Poland?
Kiedy idzie?
Hej.
Nie.
Wiesz
Nie
co,
daję
za,
betra.
za jakieś 10-15 minut.
Okej, czekam na was.
Dobra.
A, jaki
Tylko nic nie
ładny
mów, bo nagrywamy.
Okay, so the fingernail color fits to the mobile phone.
Ja.
That's good.
Wow! Wiesz co, Weronika?
You can.
Możesz nam jeszcze iść do nich na chwilę, bo
Bo muszę zrobić zdjęcie.
musimy mieć cicho teraz i ten telefon służy może być. Ewa, możecie jeszcze na 10 minut albo 5 tam iść? 5 może.
Ja robię zdjęcie.
Dobra, tylko żeby nie było żadnego dźwięku.
Well, if I tune into what is most important in terms of nature energies for Poland in this moment is for sure in connection with water. And not only because this enormous rains recently, but more in general. But this is more a planetary phenomenon, really. It's not only limited to Poland. But the thing is, we need to pay more attention to water in general. The elves do not perceive water in the way we do. For us, we have a lake, we have a river, we have it in clouds or in our soup, we have it in our body or elsewhere. But for the elves, they do not divide it in any part. For them, water is a crystalline form, and there is only one crystalline form. It's one water crystal. And wherever it may express itself, if it is in your blood, or if it is in a little puddle on the ground, or in the clouds, wherever you find water, it's just a tiny part of one unique and complete structure. And that has both advantages and disadvantages, because if you pollute water, it affects not only the water that you pollute in that area, but it affects the whole instantly and everywhere. And at the same time, if you look at it from the positive angle, which I prefer, of course, you can, like for example this Japanese guy does, you can bring in certain vibrations into this crystal, because it has this special ability to store information, to store vibration. So if you bring into, even if it's just a glass of water, if you bring the energy of love into that water, the whole crystal is affected instantly and everywhere. So this is a bit different size, so to speak, how you can think about it. I mean, of course, it's already a step into the right direction if you think you can affect a glass of water, or you can affect a lake, or you can affect a certain part of the ocean or a beach where you live. Actually, you can affect all of it. Everyone can. You don't have to be gifted with certain abilities that only certain people have from birth. That's bullshit. You can do that. Everyone can do that. Anytime. And the only thing you need is, as I said from start, an open heart and an open mind. And that you need to trust yourself. So, everyone can help to contribute to stabilize the energy of water, to purify it. If it is just that you think about putting out less waste, or that you actually sit in front of a water like here, or at your place, wherever, and you move yourself into a vibration of love. You move yourself into your light, Maybe you ask for the presence of your soul, or whatever works best for you. And then you bring in the energy or quality of what you want into the water. If it is love that you want to share, if it is joy, which is of course always nice for yourself and others, or whatever it is, and you focus it into the water, and you will benefit from it directly. And anyone in contact with water will directly. And that is basically all life on Earth.
So what do you think about the meaning of this water in Poland? Is the biggest in Polish history? No? Co? Jeszcze musimy chwileczkę, dobra?
Kan du översätta det på svenska?
Vilket då?
Är det som du sa det nu?
Allt? Ja, då måste jag göra det, men visst kan jag översätta det.
Jak wiesz co, jak wrócimy do domu, to ci może powiedzieć, a teraz musimy po angielsku nagrać. I said that now maybe later when we come back
Det
home.
där måste ni ta bort.
Ja.
Okay.
Ja, det kommer han göra.
Okay.
Nej, det här kan vi inte göra därför att jag kommer här.
So you mean this? What is the meaning of this huge water in Poland?
I don't think that these things bear special meaning. I don't think
No.
there is any hidden message in a
No.
flood,
No.
a special hidden message in a volcano eruption on Iceland. Why is it happening to them? Why not to us? Why is it happening in Poland and not to Russia or Portugal? I don't really think it matters that much, actually. Of course, it is very important to the people who live there in that moment, but it is more a general sign for a big instability in the energies of nature, which we can adjust. We can do that. We can affect it. We can cooperate with other beings, and we can move this back into a balance, into a harmonious balance. And yeah, that's what I have chosen to work for.
You know what was in Poland? Poland is a funny country because it's very Catholic and very also like occult or something. The esoteric knowledge is also.
Yes.
So most of Polish society understands that the water was the curse of the kings of all Polish kings because they buried this Polish president in the king place, in the big castle. Actually, castle where they believe it was Dragon City in Krakow. And it was a really funny translation. That they believe that the Polish kings are cursing Poland by water. But it was just funny. So
Yeah.
I just tell you privately. It's not
I
for
see.
video.
I see.
So what about language? Can you sing or?
Yeah, sure, why not? In that case, I shall ask them to sing about joy, which you can then bring into your own life. And we shall focus it on the one water crystal. So if you listen to this music at home, you just think of water would be sufficient. Or you could as well play this song for some form of water, like for a lake or for a river, which will affect that specific part of the water crystal. But as I said already, it's a bit illusionary to think that way because it will anyway affect the whole of it.
Yeah.
But the good thing with it is what you put into the water crystal you can get back. So if we sing about joy and put that into the crystal, you can call upon this joy wherever you are. Just you go into connection with any water and you will be able to perceive it within yourself.
Beautiful. Maybe I change for you.
Knowledgeable about all this media.
Okay.
Girls, would you mind?
Cicho, bo nagrywamy.
it's maybe a minute or what.
Okay.
Something.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
So my name is Alexander, and originally I'm from Austria, and meanwhile I'm living in Sweden. And I'm mainly what?
You can move.
Okay.
You can move to the camera.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm mainly working as a spiritual coach, as a musician, singer, and interpreter. So now I don't know anymore what else to tell you.
How long you are doing these things with elves?
I've been working with elves now since 2001.
And how you are talking with them actually?
I'm channeling them, so this energy or the information that I bring through during the workshops that I give, or during the talks like this one, is directly from them.
Uh-huh. And you can do it anytime. You don't have to come to trance or something.
Luckily, I don't have to go into trance.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is any time.
Okay. Can you just like for?
I really don't want to give this mysterious impression.
Okay.
Papa,
It's
Uh-huh.
because then it looks like, oh, here he comes, and
Yeah.
here is this strange
Oh, yeah,
guy
you
who
are
talks
right,
with
you are
elves, and
right.
it gives this whole thing a strange touch.
Uh-huh.
And it is not strange, at least not to me.
Yeah.
It might, of course, be strange to others, but
Uh-huh.
So I'm just a regular guy who happens to talk to elves, but that anyone can do.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okej. Okej, so is ready.
Yeah.
Tak, samego.
med F, du får
Poczekaj.
inte på engelska.
Cicho na chwilę, dobra? Do you understand single words what you are talking, or you just understand intuitively all meaning?
Of the song or the language?
Of language, yes.
It depends. If I work in a workshop, for example, or on a journey which usually takes 10 to 14 days, I mean a workshop basically is a weekend, and I'm in those energies all the time, then I start to understand the words literally. Otherwise I get their energetic meaning or their purpose, their intent.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it sounds very...
Znowu możecie teraz kręcić, tak że tutaj idzie stąd.
A co z tym Ewa, co z tymi częściami filmu? Doszły?
Ja nic nie wiem, ja nie rozmawiałam z mamą.
A nic nie wiesz, no. Bo ona twierdzi, to już było wczoraj, abyśmy z Markiem widzieli, że...
Mieszka jest zmęczona, musisz dać mi spokój.
O,
Ja muszę się przystać do szkoły za 15, gdzie mam to napisać na miejscu.
tak szybko? O, rany.